Well, hello traders and investors, I'm LA Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets and we do it from a neoclassical perspective, and each time we're asking ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about the coming ones. I do a show 4 times a week every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Archived on YouTube. It's under the channel LA Little. When we look at what happened today, it was mother sideways, right? Nothing happened. You went sideways, you're hanging up here, you're waiting on the Fed. You had Apple after the bed, like it was in bed, right? Apple after the bell, down 2%, can't raise their revs anymore. Boy, does that sound familiar, right? Best company in the world can't create more sales. That's a problem. Let's look at the numbers here. Oil was a big mover today, up 5%. It was down about 3%, 4% overnight. So a huge swing there. Volatility galore. And then after hours, it's down 3% again because they had a huge buildup in inventories. Unfortunately, the market continues to be tied at the hip to this. And so when this goes up, you typically get these to go up. It goes down, you get these to go down, and that's probably what we're going to see tomorrow, I guess, right? We'll look at the charts and decide that. But if we look at it, right, big up move today. You kind of took back what you lost the day before, which kind of took back what was gained the day before that. It really comes down to the Fed. Is the Fed going to be hawkish, or are they going to say uncle? And that's really what it comes down to. Hang Seng down big. Of course, that was off of Shanghai. I don't have the Shanghai numbers up here. Shanghai dropped 6.5%. Breaks the lows out. Over in the DAX, we had the move back to the upside. That's what that looked like it was going to do. And really, the big mover today was the gold market. Gold pops up 1.14% on the GLD. The silver pops with it. That is trying to tell us something. Let's see if we can figure out what that something is. Let's go back to the charts here. So the S&P, what you're going to see in all the charts, whether you're looking at the indexes, the sectors, it doesn't really matter. They've all set up ABCD structures, every one of them, right, to try to take it higher. Now, as we talked about last night, this could easily go the other way. In other words, you get the move up, and then right back down the other way. So which is going to be? Is it going to be up? Or is it going to be down? That's the question. It comes into the Fed. Let's see if we have any clues tonight to tell us that. Here on the S&P, there is no clue. It's in the middle, and it's just sitting there. Volume's about the same as yesterday. If we look at the NASDAQ trades under, back over, has the ABCD structure, but hasn't gotten over the B point, and there's not enough there to tell us, right? It's slightly bullish given the way it traded today, but that's just slight. If we go to the NDX has almost the same setup, gets under, back over, same setup. Russell, now the Russell had some strength today, right back to the top side, same amount of volume. And so the Russell under yesterday, back over, right, up 2% today, was the leader on the way up. But again, Russell not telling us anything. So if we're not getting anything there, are we getting something somewhere else? So if we go over and look at the major sectors, and I want to pop through these because we're almost at the end of the month. And at the end of the month here, these things are either going to break or not on the downside. So here's the XLB. Again, all of these have that same structure, and I just want to point it out again. Although on some of these, like here, for example, the ABCD structure of the downside is huge, right? If this thing breaks to the downside, there's just not anything, at least on the daily chart, right, to try and support it. If it breaks to the upside, you can't even get to the swing point low yet. But it's a start, right, if it goes that direction. If you look at the weekly, it's underneath the swing point low. It's under with less volume, but it's still under it. So you broke it 2 weeks ago, you're still under it. On the monthly, if we look at the XLB coming after this swing point low, it's already bearish. That would simply just reconfirm it again. So XLB, not looking so hot. XLE, ABCD structure potentially on the upside, Same thing on the downside. All the downside's very small. This one looks like it's consolidating. Doesn't look like it's really going to go anywhere. It's in this range here from the technical perspective. If we look at it here though, right, it's broken the swing point low, heading lower. And if we look at it on the monthly, this thing is under the 2011 lows, at least testing them and trying to break them on a monthly basis. And again, that would just be another confirmation. If we go over and pull up the XLF, right, this is one that also, same sort of thing, ABCD potential up and down. This one on the weekly in the middle of the bar, usually you get that deep, you try to keep going. And here's the key, XLF, swing point low, sitting at 21.55. It closes at 21.20. In other words, we're still under it. We only have 3 days. Got to get back over it, or you're going to transition on that time frame. You can say the same thing about the XLI. If you look at it, again, none of these have broken the B point. That's true of every sector. This one did get back over the swing point lows, so far it looks like it's saving itself. The only one that came close to breaking was the XLP, and that's more of a safety sector, but it got over it, back under it, couldn't get over it, right? Failed to. So every sector, same thing, less volume coming into the Fed meeting. ABCD structure set up on the upside and the downside on almost all of them. Some of them large to the downside and some of them not. So our indexes don't tell us anything. Our sectors don't tell us anything. How about the world markets? Well, let's go see what they look like. If we take a look at the German DAX. So the DAX, last night we had talked about it was probably going to get that push higher. Well, it did end up going up today, but look at where it came into. It came into this little range down here where it should catch support, right, from the perspective of these bars. That is where it found support, flips around, goes right back to where resistance is. In other words, it didn't get over it, or it didn't stay over it. Actually, if anything, it got over it and back under it, right? Price point there, 96.57, almost 8, and you got up into it, over it, back underneath it. So if we look at it just from that perspective, in other words, we don't have enough extension here to, to call that a big tell, but it's slightly bearish. If we look at the CACs, it actually looks a little bit better. But if we go over, and so the CACs has a little bit better of a setup, but it has the same problem. It can't get over the bar yet. And I want to show you Hong Kong and Shanghai. We'll start with Shanghai. Shanghai blows out the lows. If you go to the weekly, it's blowing out the weekly lows. So you got one over here at 28.07. You got this one here at 28.51. You're underneath them. If you pull it here on the monthly, you're under the B point. This has 3 days to go as well. And right now, it's breaking everything down. Folks, if this thing starts to crash, and I didn't think it would, but if it does start to crash, if it can't get back over these and save itself, this is going to be a big deal. So Shanghai negative. If you look at Hong Kong, not as bad, but Hong Kong couldn't get anything going. It's coming back down to try to test that low. And finally, if we move over and take a look at oil, oil has the pop up, can't do anything with it, gives up some of it in the after hours. Oil looks like it's stuck and not going anywhere, although it's swinging 4 and 5, 6% a day, which of course is making it hard on these equity markets. So finally, to wrap it up, is there anything in the currencies that tell us anything? Well, we're still in the Draghi bar. So nothing happening here on the euro. It's just hanging out, right? Consolidating. Nothing going on there. If we look at the yen, now the yen, if you remember, the yen had made a big move to the top side, comes down on the rumors that Japan is going to do QE. Well, Japan's got a little talk for us on Thursday morning. We'll see what that does to it. I can't believe they're going to try to talk the yen up. I'm sure they'll try to talk it down, but how far will that carry, if it will? That's the question. It has failed up here. It failed on less volume, so it looks to me like this one at least is still range bound, and it's got this nice big range it's working in. And so, yen looks like it's stuck, euro looks like it's stuck. Dollar looks like it's stuck. What isn't stuck? Gold. Gold pops up today, gets over the swing point high. So you get the swing point high break. You can do an ABCD structure here, but it's almost complete, which is the other interesting part about this. So you have the ABCD structure and you're almost done, maybe a little bit more up here. But gold does break out, gets over the swing point high, and does it with some decent volume. Not as much, but decent volume. That's on the daily chart. Pop it over to the weekly. Gold actually has the breakout over the bearish retest regen if it can hold it. So it's up over it, right? As it pushes up, this is the big test. You've got this little area here that's going to give it toughness too, right? But can it stay in it? If it can stay up here on the weekly, then gold's trying to tell us something. And if I ask myself, what is it telling me? It's either the fear that this market is just going to fall out of bed, in which case if the market doesn't, this is going to come right back, or it's inflation, right? It's expecting inflation. It's expecting the dollar to be depreciated. And so that says Fed's going to be dovish. If the Fed's going to be dovish, that's going to put some juice into the market. So which one is it telling us? I don't know for sure, but I'm betting it's thinking the Fed's going to be dovish, and that's why gold is shooting up. So if we have any signals, it's this one, saying the Fed's going to give us something tomorrow, going to throw a bone at the market. I don't know if it is, but I don't have anything else to go on. So if I had anything that I had to flip a coin with, it would be on this one. And to say, it looks to me like this one's trying to tell us something. I expect the Fed's going to throw some sort of bone. What the market does with it is going to be the key. This market is on the ropes. It doesn't have much room to wiggle, and the bell's about to ring. It's got to get up off the ropes. And that's it for tonight. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm LA. This is, and it was, your daily NeoTA wrap. Have yourself a great night. We'll see where she wants to go. Going to be a tough day tomorrow. You're going to start out weak probably as a result of Apple, the technology stocks. But then we'll see if this thing can kind of climb up into that Fed meeting. Wouldn't be surprised if it does. I kind of expect it probably will try. And then it's going to be all about what they say and the reaction to it. Have a great one, folks. Take care.